first of all, let's talk about our military. I know that you have a soft spot in your heart for our military. You're a patriot at heart. Why are you supporting this cause?
I was born in North Carolina back in 1936. I was 5 years old the day Pearl Harbor was bombed. Not the day, but I was 5. Let me start over again. I was born in Wilmington, North Carolina in 1936, which made me 5 years old when Pearl Harbor was bombed. I remember that day quite well. Wilmington is a seacoast town, seaport, and we had tankers and cargo ships going out of our port, going over to the theater of war in Europe, carrying supplies to our troops. We had German U-boats that lay just off our coast that sunk them when they came out into the ocean, sometimes so close you could see the glow of the ships burning from the beaches in North Carolina. We were in a very strategic part of the world. We never were attacked, but the potential was there. So I learned early on there were two things that protected the United States of America, one being the grace of God, the other the United States military. It was that way then. It has been that way ever since this country has been formed. It is that way now. We owe an unpayable debt of gratitude to our troops, and we can never do enough for them. So I'm up for anything that they got going on.
Absolutely. How does it make you feel to know that we have 22 of our military members every day committing suicide? More are killed by their own hands than by combat. It's
such a fallacy with these young people committing suicide. It should not be happening. They have all their lives before them, and I cannot imagine, I can't conjure up in my mind what it would take, what kind of mindset it would take to put somebody in the frame of mind where they would take their own life. I can't imagine that. So many of us can't imagine it. But the thing is that they need help. There is help available. There are people who do know. There are people who know how to read the signs, that know when they're in danger, and that's the situation right now. Is we owe them everything that we can give them, and they need help. We owe them help.
A lot of people may not know that you have a program at Lipscomb. You're actually sending veterans to school. Tell me about that. I know it started off with 6 vets, and now it's up to, what, 200, something like that?
It's called Operation Yellow Ribbon, and it started out, as you said, I think with 6 or 7 original students, and it's grown. I call it jumpstarting their lives, because I think everybody plans when they go in the military early, 19, 20 years old, they know 20 years, 30 years even, they're going to be fairly young when they get out. And probably they've got something in the back of their mind that they want to do. And then they go to war and they get grievously wounded, and they have to change their whole attitude about they're no longer equipped maybe to do what they wanted to do. This program helps to educate them and give them some choices to maybe change what their dream was, but at least to have a dream. And we're several years into it now. We've got students that have been there from the first, and to watch the light come into their eyes and to watch their progress and where they're saying to themselves, yeah, I can do this. I think some of them are a little confused when they first come in as to what they're getting into and how they're going to go about doing it, and going back to school after all those years out, that in itself is traumatic enough. But to watch the progress that's been made and watch what's going on, watching basically the fraternity of what's going on out there, and to see the progress that's being made, and we're starting to reach fruition and graduation now, and it's a wonderful thing. Operation Yellow Ribbon, it's a good one.
Awesome. And one more question about our military. I know that you're known for going to the places where other singers don't go. You kind of go off the beaten path, and you go really and help our troops in an area where they may not have access to.
Well, a lot of people went, go into the war zones. We tried to go into places that what they call the FOBs, the forward operating bases, where they don't get a lot, where it's not on the beaten track. If you go to Baghdad, there's stuff flying in and out of there all the time and things going on, but you get the guys that are out in these little outlying bases where there's nothing. You're surrounded by desert, you're surrounded by enemy. And, to go out there is real special, and we tried to do as much as we could when we're touring in Iraq. It's a gratifying thing. We got more out of it than the troops did. I mean, we just really, being there and being out there and maybe being the first person to come there in a long time, or maybe at all, is real special. And they come up and say thank you, and I said, let me thank you. I'm going home in a few days. You guys are still going to be here. They're the best we got. The people you see in uniform, I tell the crowd every night at concerts, The people you see in uniform, they're the best we've got. I've been among them in some pretty desolate parts of the world. I've been among them at bases in this country. I've been among them in bases all over the place. They're the best Americans we got. They put their lives between us and people who want to do us harm. We should remember that 24 hours a day.
Excellent. All right, let's talk about you now. I know people obviously love you, come to your shows, but they may not realize this crazy schedule that you still keep at the age of 76. How many days a year are you on the road?
We're not as much as we used to. We'll do 90 to 100 dates this year, but you put 10 Grand Ole Opry appearances in and some recording and some publicity and a couple of charity things. And it's enough, for me. I work probably roughly a little over maybe 200 days a year altogether. I mean, and of course there's some downtime and some vacation time and that sort of thing. But I'm acclimated to it. I mean, it's as natural to me to go to bed on my bus and wake up in another town as it is for me to go home and lay down in my bed and wake up in the same place. I love it. I love what I do. I can't imagine my life without it. And I do it because I love it. And when I first started, one of my main aims was longevity. That's what I wanted. I wanted to be around for a long time. I'm in my 55th year now as a full-fledged professional musician, and as long as it's God's will and as long as people want to hear me, I'll be out here doing it.
And what's next for you? I know you have a big project in the works.
We're going to start some recording a little later on in the year. We'll come into some recording. We've always got things going on. I've always got things in the works. I got a biography in the works I've been working on for years. I've got songs in the works. I've got projects in the works. We have a children's project I worked on for years that we're about to get to the point of where we're ready to present it to some production companies or companies to produce it. Cartoon type thing, musical. I always got something going on. Always something new. Always got something to get out of bed for in the morning. I think that's one of the secrets of life, is you stay interested and you stay vibrant. I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday, or one day not too long ago, and I said, you know what, Ron? He's not quite as old as I am, pretty close to it. He's retired from the record business, and I said, one thing about me and you, we never quit moving. He's telling me about projects he's got going on. I got this going on, that going on. It's like, me too. We're not sitting in a rocking chair and going out and playing around the golf and coming back and, sitting in a rocking chair. Not that there's anything wrong with that. That's great for people that want to do it. I just don't choose to spend my life that way. I want to be doing something. I got 30 people that have worked for me for 30 years, most of them. We're pretty close to that for all of them. I mean, there's a few people that hadn't been here that long, most of them have. They're like my family. I mean, it's like, I enjoy, working together. And it's like, I walk in the office with an idea and everybody's on it. It's like, hey, I got this going, I got that going, and let's do this, let's do that. I mean, that's what life's about. It's like something new, something exciting. You never give up. You keep going. There's no yellow brick road, but there's a pretty rocky old path out there. But if you take off down it, you can get a long ways on it.
There you go. And what about the Bob Dylan tribute that you're working on? You want to talk about that? Or
Can we talk about that?
The secret?
It's not really a secret. The only thing, the only thing was.
He mentioned it to me. That's all.
Yeah, I know. If you think it's all right to talk about it, I'd be glad to talk about it.
I don't think anybody is going to get it done as quick as
Okay.
we are. It's not like
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
Okay.
I'm a big Bob Dylan fan. I love Bob Dylan. I love his. He changed things in this industry, and I happened to be around, and in my music career at the time that it happened, and I watched it happen. He made things acceptable that were never acceptable before. He approached things from a totally different point of view. He turned Tin Pan Alley upside down on its ear. He threw bubblegum rock and roll music out the window, basically, and brought in an era of music will always be my favorite, when people were creating their own music and there were no limits, that you could have a 10-minute song or an 8-minute song, that you didn't have to stay in the boundaries of 3.5 minutes, and you didn't have to deal with certain subjects, and everything didn't have to be I love you and you love me and ain't the world wonderful, or maybe even trying to stop and think about what the heck is he talking about. Been a little introspective and trying to think, what's he mean by that? I don't know if he even knew or not, but it sure was wonderful to listen to. So I have always admired Bob Dylan. I've always, really, I had the honor of working with him on 3 of his albums, and just been a big fan of his ever since. And I just was thinking about a new project to do, and I just thought this would be a good one. So we're going to come in and do a Bob Dylan album, and it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot different because we're going to do it acoustically. We've always done electric music. This is going to be unplugged, though you can't use that. That belongs to somebody else, but we'll give it a different name, but acoustic Bob Dylan.
I like it. All right, and one final question about Twitter. What do people need to know when they see your tweets?
That's me, unless it's tagged with Team CDB. My son does that. If we have a T-shirt we want everybody to know about, or a date we want everybody to know about, or if we're going to be on a TV show, you know, and we know about its schedule, and he'll put that up. Charlie will be on Stacy's show at 8:30 or something like that on such and such a date. But everything else is me. All the answers, all the smart aleck stuff, that's all me.
Okay. I think most people might be amazed that you've mastered Twitter. You know, there are people in their 30s that haven't figured out Twitter. I just figured out Twitter about 6 months ago. Twitter's hard.
No, it's not. My son has dragged me kicking and screaming into every kind of technology that we have ever done. He said, "Dad, you need to do this." No, I don't. This was the last thing, the latest thing I should say, this Twitter. You need a Twitter. I do not need it. I don't do Facebook. I don't mess with Facebook. My Twitter feed goes on Facebook, but I don't understand it. I kind of bypass that, but he kept on at me till I started doing this Twitter thing. And I kind of got, where I really enjoy it. And I had a Twitter this morning, somebody from Jeddah over in Saudi Arabia, another from Australia. So you find out what people around the world are thinking, and you tell them what you're thinking. You find out what's going on in different parts of the world, what's going on in their thoughts and their minds, and what they think of what's happening in this country. And it's informative, it's fun, and I just get a kick out of it.
Awesome. Anything you want to add that I didn't ask you?
Yeah, you look really beautiful in that blue dress.
Oh, thank you so much. Oh, appreciate it. Yeah. That's going to make the cut.
Oh, so.
All right.
We appreciate you coming out today.
Thank you. We're just going to get a 2-shot
Okay.
gun. Some kind of something.
Just cracked it right across the top.
He's
Oh,
just
it's
driving
horrible.
along, just crack it.
No, I mean, it just did over a period of time.
over a period of time.
But it was just so shaky and everything. But there was nothing out here at the time.
Yeah.
There was nothing in Mount Juliet at the time. And of course, now they come in with Providence and all that
Yeah.
stuff.
You like Providence?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Makes things a lot
It is
easier.
nice, yeah.
We had to go all the way into Nashville for any kind of shopping and all. Of course, my wife likes it better than I do. But
Of course she does. That's what we do. We shop.
yeah, I know.
We buy shoes and
Tell me
such.
about it. Yeah, I was just looking at those. I'd wear those. Well, I like them on you, but if I wore them for just, it'd take me just about 30 seconds
To
to.
fall over and break your ankle.
Yeah, we did something for, I forget what it was, for the military up in Washington, and there was a bunch of military personnel that night, and there was a young lady there in an evening dress that had 2 prostheses, and she was wearing high heels for the first time that night. Yeah.
That's amazing.
You remember her? Remember seeing her?
That is amazing.
It is amazing. And of course, you couldn't see the prostheses because she had an evening gown, but she'd just walking around with this
Just
thing.
gliding along.
Wouldn't have known if somebody hadn't told you.
That's
It's-
hard.
it's-
Things are hard.